This is a channeled message from the angels about letting the heart lead. And if you have heard me talking about, heard everybody talking about oneness, how do we get to oneness, this feeling of being one with all things? Here, the angels are kind of breaking that down in a way that we can physically understand it. So it's a very cool message, beautifully poetic, as they all seem to be. So I want to welcome you guys back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, I appreciate your comments so much. I want you guys to know that I read all the comments and I really appreciate them. I try to respond to as many as I can, but do know that I do read them all, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here. And for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. Today's message is about this concept of leading with the heart. And as a society, we have so long been conditioned to lead with our heads, with that analysis and that logic. And here they're saying that the way to get into this new state of being, this new state of awakening, where we are connected to all things and through this, to this concept of oneness, is through leading with the heart. And they break it down in a way that I think makes it so much more easy to understand. So I hope you enjoy the message. I also want to let you guys know that I currently am starting, at the end of this month, I am starting a new program called the Circle of 12. And the Circle of 12, it's a personal healing journey. It does include 3 private one-on-one sessions. And you guys know I only do those private sessions in the context of these energetic circles that the angels create. So there's these spots that do not open up very often. And so it is a personal healing journey. It is also a chance to work directly with the angels in this construct, this circle of 12, where they form. It's literally like an energetic structure where the angels are working with the group as a whole. So if you want to find out more about it, it's on my website. It's called Circle of 12, and I will drop a link below in the comments or in the description box so you can check it out. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the message. I see this as a really helping us to better understand how our thinking and our way of being is going to shift as we move into this new vibration. So it's kind of giving us, it seems like each of these messages are kind of giving us more and more of an understanding of how to be a different way. And if you have ever gone through your own healing and trying to understand how to be different than you are, it's very hard to do that without a model. Like I know as I was trying to to rebalance my masculine and feminine energy, I didn't have a great model for what I was trying to move into. And I kind of had to create that out of thin air. And I feel like by talking through some of this stuff more specifically, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to give us a feeling like in our body of what is it to be this way so that it's easier for us to move into it. And hey, it's great to see you. Glad you guys could make it. So thank you so much for joining. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So here's what they say. They say, you are how we're unfolding this epoch. You're the placement of this new dawn. Within yourselves find rising the dew of awe, the settling of thought. It's beautiful, isn't it? The dew of awe, the settling of thought. You are holding the key, the patterning for your own rising. You own the placement of your thoughts. Your beginning thought, that new crest of awareness that dawns, its placement is on your horizon. You think to what matters, what arrives, and what will be, and what comes towards you now. Your freedom to feel all things reveals your heart's opening. These feelings rise up into calm understanding. Your heart opens, reveals to you now your own direction unfolding. So I think this is really this section here. This is kind of the beginning. They're telling us, hey, this is going to be about the way we engage with life. Right now, most of us engage with life with our heads. And they're trying to shift us so that we learn to engage first with the heart. That the heart leads and the head comes after. And they're saying that we're holding the key in terms of patterning, the patterning. What is this patterning going to be for as we move into this new way of being, this new state of being? And it really is about shifting so that we're leading from here and that the head, the reason follows. And it's sort of like they're talking about like where do we, when we move into things, when we move into our future, we're moving in with our head versus with our heart. We're thinking, anticipating, trying to analyze and think through things, right? We all do that. So they're trying to open us up to this new way of being. All right, next paragraph. They say, your heart's message understood with readiness. Your head, it bothers. The conundrum it seems to on offer, to breathe the truth of your arrival, to feel what you have brewing within, or leave that passage to another. to make your heart open or last within the frame of makeshift understanding. So they're saying, hey, here's the contrast. And I love how they describe it within the frame of makeshift understanding. That's how they describe our thinking. They say that our thinking is makeshift understanding. It is something we've come up with to plug a gap, but it's not the best tool on offer, is our thinking, is how they're trying to describe that, right? And so they're saying, okay, that the heart's message is ready, it's coming up, but that our head, because our head is used to leading, it bugs our head. Our head is like, wait a minute, like I need to be out there leading. I need to be analyzing and thinking through and planning, and not being in charge that makes your head feel nervous and scared. Not knowing what's coming makes your head feel nervous and scared. The heart's like, yeah, this is the way we go. The heart is happy being in flow, but the head is like, not so much. The head wants to know, wants to plan, right? So they're saying, here's the choice, right? To make your heart open or last within the frame of makeshift understanding. So here's the conundrum they're trying to walk us through in this message. So they go on, next paragraph. They say, your own head, the thoughts therein rely on your heart speaking. You cannot find the truth unspoken in your mind. Your mind, it wanders. Sorry, my phone is just ringing. Your mind, it wanders in the alleyways of your understanding. It logics a puzzle and makes known the patterns that reveal what you've done and been and heard or seen. What makes the human you are is far from this. The knowledge you have dies within the frame of now living. It leaves no mark on what you are. But heart, it lives hereafter. It rises with yourself. It lives ever after. So this, I think, really says it so clearly, right? They're saying that I love what they're saying here, that you cannot find the truth unspoken in your mind, that your mind, it wanders through the things that you already know. So in other words, they're saying that your mind is limited to what already exists in terms of how it understands things, but your heart is open. Your heart is where you can find things that are unspoken, that are unknown. And your head is where you find the way that our head works. It's by living within the boundaries of what it's already perceived. So they're saying, that it logics a puzzle through what you've seen and done and already heard and already been. And they say, but the human that you are is far from this, right? That this limitation, that the mind is a wonderful servant, but it's a limitation if we let it lead. That at the end of the day, that the knowledge that you have, all the things that we think is so important, what we know, what we study, what we, like the ways that we comprehend things, they say this dies. That when we die, we leave all that behind, right? And then we move on, and the thing that lasts, that endures is what we take in here in the heart. So I think it says it so beautifully. All right, so moving on, they say, here we go. It is this frame of being that must be comprehended. How to navigate your part from here, from feeling, understanding all things as you are a part of them, and feel from inside how it is to be one with all things, to understand and make peace with all things, to be what you are and align your feelings to know and understand one another. So this is interesting. They're getting into this idea of oneness. And so this is really stepping us into this frame they've been talking about like, how is it that we're going to be in this new reality? And they're saying that so in the same way that we understand all things, we also understand each other. So they're going to set this up now. And in this next paragraph, they start using a metaphor to help us understand this idea of understanding things as if you are a part of them. So they're using a bridge as a metaphor. So they start talking about the bridge. They're thinking of a bridge think of like a concrete bridge, or like a metal bridge that goes from one place to another. And that's what they're talking about in the next paragraph. Here's what they say. To feel what is now passing in a bridge, you feel the steel and concrete. And they mean here, when they say to feel it, what is now passing in a bridge, to feel what it is to be a bridge is what they're talking about here. So this is what they're saying in the previous paragraph, and feel from inside now how it is to be one with all things, to understand and make peace with all things. That's what they're talking about. So going on this paragraph, to feel what is now passing in a bridge, to feel the steel and concrete, you see what is observable. You note its direction and transport, what it confers from one side to another. But what feels this bridge? How are you to feel inside it? What does it observe of itself? What tensions dawn upon itself in daily life? And this is like the same question as like, what is it like to be a rock? Like, what is it like to be a shoe? What is it like to be anything? And they're saying here, imagine for yourself, as you're trying to understand how to lead with your heart, start here. Start thinking about what is it to be a bridge? How would it feel to be a bridge, to have the experience of being a bridge, which is a strange concept, but let's go with it. So they're saying, what is it like to be inside the bridge, to feel it? What does it observe of itself? What tensions dawn upon itself in daily life? So how does a bridge feel? They say, okay, here's what they say. They say, the bridge, it might storm the mind with concrete musings, but feel your heart the difficulty, the serene aspect, the close understanding of feeling and connection to the soil nearby, the airy, breezy sensation of being lofty and wishing for more concrete adjustment. So these are all the things they're saying might be what it is to be a bridge. They're saying that a bridge might, so they say when you first think about being a bridge, the first thing that pops to your mind might be the mind, the things you think about like the concrete and the steel, and you might get misled in these thinking about it analytically, which is what we always tend to do. They say, no, step back from that, feel with your heart the difficulty of being a bridge, right? The serene aspect, like what is it like, when does a bridge feel serene and calm? Like maybe when there's no traffic, right? When it's really calm or quiet, like maybe just early in the morning before there's anyone there, they might feel serene. A bridge might feel, they say, the close understanding of feeling and connection to the soil nearby. So imagine how the bridge feels as it's stretched between the two sides, and the connection it might feel with the earth on both sides, right? What does that feel like for a bridge? And how about they say the airy, breezy sensation of being lofty. So that feeling of suspension, right? That think of a suspension bridge. Like I think of the bridge in Tacoma, what used to be called the Tacoma Narrows, where it's this really lovely suspension bridge. And think about what that must feel like, that feeling of being stretched from one to another and being suspended, and how that might feel emotionally. And then wishing for more concrete adjustment, right? Does it ever feel vulnerable out there? So this puts you in a totally different way of understanding and approaching the objects and the things around us, everything around us. If you approach it from the heart, it feels way different than if you approach it from an analytical mind perspective. And this is the frame of mind where they're trying to get us into. What does it feel like? How do you relate to all things from the heart space? So they go on here and they say, okay, next paragraph, follow your heartstrings and find your own lacing. Makes these understandings possible within your being. You have known the same to be a bridge as a person, a human, to feel the context of your humanity when torn between two things, two persons, two feelings, or two decisions. These feelings pass through knowledge and understanding. They become digested into what you are. So they're saying, here's an example of the heart leading, that what does it feel like when you are a bridge between anything, right? Between two things that you want, or a bridge between two people. As they said, all these things, what does it feel like, that experience of being a bridge? And how do you digest that emotionally and then make sense of it in your mind, right? The mind follows, heart leads, and then mind follows. All right, these become digested into what you are. They say they become part of who you are when you have these experiences at the heart level. So next paragraph. You're saying, I feel the calm in the love light pouring through the heart right now. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm so glad. All right. And you're saying, I'm so happy I made it to live. My head definitely wants to plan, take control, but I know my energetic body and heart have vast wisdom. I'm learning how to peacefully clear my own path and to see, feel, know the universe within me. I think that's such a beautiful way of saying it. The universe within you. I think that is what they're trying. And they've said, like, the heart, that is the portal to all things. So they really are trying to open us up to that greater wisdom, to feel through the space and to understand our 3D reality, the stuff around us, that everything, my coffee cup, what is it like to be a coffee cup? Like everything, to understand it from the heart space, so different from how we've always been. And you're saying this bridge and digestion metaphors are so resonating. I'm so glad. All right, so let's move to the next paragraph. They say, your heart, it gathers and guides your perception. You are but alive because of it. It beats a harmony of your soul and makes your tune rise and fall in harmony with all things. You are alive to wonder, to feel the spring air that starts to rise between the notes of cold. The senses dawn with its arrival, and here we call your outer layers shed, to make your heart begin to know the world again, to breathe the air crimson. Seek in your heart what is told to all things, the truth of what you are, of who you are to become, of all that is rising between you, of you. And I love in this paragraph, they're bringing, I feel like it's a double entendre, right? A metaphor that is talking about two things. They're bringing in this idea of spring, right? And the spring air that starts to rise between the notes of cold. It's beautiful, but but the metaphor they're getting at here is this winter that we've been buried. And that's such a great way to think about how it has been to be a human in this modern world. That it's like we've been in a feeling winter. And all of a sudden, there's this opening. And here we are in winter, and we're heading into the spring. And the spring is when we start to see, boy, there's going to be some activity this year and a lot of opening in the world. So this metaphor has layers, right? It's a real reflection of where we are in the world. In terms of just the seasons, but also the energy that we're stepping into. There's a thawing. So this thawing that's happening in the world we're going to be going through. But they're saying that that's been the human experience for such a long time, that we have been in this stage of sort of where the heart's been more asleep or been dormant or been pressed down. It's been a winter. And they're saying we're starting to feel the way they describe it, the spring air that starts to rise between the notes of cold, and the senses dawn with its arrival. So this is what our experience is as we're starting to go into this, that we're starting to have these little like sniffs of awakening, these moments. The way they described it in the last one was like these, the capsules of awakening, these little moments, right? Where we're having these small experiences of awakening, little sniffs, little moments. And they say to breathe the air crimson. And again, there's like that think of your heart. As you breathe in air and you oxygenate your blood, the blood turns red, right? It's that crimson, it's that air refreshing, energizing. And seek in your heart what is told to all things, the truth of what you are, of who you are to become, of all things that is rising within you, of you. So this is truth of everything. So that's why they're saying like the oneness. How do we get to the oneness? It's through this comprehension leading with the heart. And that oneness is so important in terms of our comprehension of each other. Like our ability to understand a rock is a great way to forecast our ability to understand another person, because it shows our ability to get out of ourselves. So, okay, so going on to the next paragraph, they say, making renewed life, the spring that rises, it calls you forward. It invites you upward to feel the light, the warmth, to feel the strength you have put by, the stored anchor of your own energy, ready to move into fruiting. Be revealed. Your heart space knows the feeling of being underneath, of being quiet and undersold, of being left out of discussion. It feels the ache of winter cold, of dormant times, and now a rising has come. A spring unfolds and lifts you upward, lets you feel the potential, the energy of light. The sunshine moves through you now, each heartbeat quickening, feeling the turning of the earth beneath you as the soil moves, displaced by your own growth. Your feet planted firmly, roots gather and descend and offer new life to your being, a new start. So this is that metaphor of the spring, and that we are going through an awakening, right? It's on so many levels. The metaphor is so beautiful. We are going through an awakening, and they're talking about how our heart is used to being underneath, being undersold, not being listened to, right? We have valued the brain for so long, like our thinking, like it's been revered like science, you know what I mean? It's been like the religion of science. And they're saying, great, yeah, that's all important and useful, but it should come after the heart, that we're supposed to start here, because this is about how we relate to all things. So beautiful. It feels the ache of winter cold, of dormant times, and now a rising has come. A spring unfolds and lifts you upward. So we're going through this together. So beautiful. And I love how they describe that we have this root, that we have this potential energy underneath, this untapped source of energy. And as we're planting our roots, right, growing down into the soil, we're ready. We're ready for this, they're saying. So beautiful. And you're saying, Wendy is saying, perhaps being in joy allows us to live from our heart. Yeah, I think that being in joy is a huge part of it, a huge part of it. That is because being in joy, you're in the moment, like you're present if you're in joy. Here we go. Next paragraph. A gathering of what was begun but not started, the dawning of all kind. The beginning, yes, unfolding now. Hearts on offer, feel your way into this new start. Your heads surmise their thinking terms. They apply their knowing understanding and leave the woods before your eyes, blocking what you see. They place each thing observed into some category of comprehension, made with dignity and peaceful acquisition at some time handed through posterity. But now all things change and must arrive fresh unto your being. So here they're talking about, again, they're saying that it is, I love, they say, a dawning of all kinds. So it's inclusive of all things. It's the oneness that they're talking about. And they're saying, feel your way into this new start, just emphasizing that it comes from the heart. And they say that our heads, the way they describe this, are saying that being locked in our old way of thinking is like being deep in the woods, that we're surrounded and we can't see the forest for the trees, right? We're stuck within all of these concepts and these ways, these habits of perception. And I love how they describe this. They place each thing observed, everything that we see, they place into some category of comprehension. So basically, it's like some format or some way we've always thought about things. And they say that these categories, they were made with dignity and peaceful acquisition at some time handed through posterity. So it's like the things that we've studied, the things that we've been told, the things that we've researched or known, or the accepted knowledge that we've always had, right? That handed down through posterity. You get the feeling of historical books and the ways that we've always done it. And they're saying, but now all things change and must arrive fresh unto your being. So it's like really trying to peel off these layers of how we've been and see with fresh eyes. They go on to say, to believe what you feel, you must untether your thinking. Release your mind from its habits of leading. Let it breathe the afterglow of your heart's formed impressions. Let feeling be your guidance. Interpret all you find through this lens of comprehension, the self. Feel. Understand what you are through this, your heart. All things share this comprehension. All things are alive to this conscious awareness of heart compassion. Navigate your path through here. Feel your method, your byway. So that's really it. They're saying it's this idea of oneness. How do we get there? All things share it. It's the universal language. So, and that's the piece of it that I think is the aha moment of this message, is that all things, even the bridge, even my coffee cup, everything share this one universal language of heart understanding, of heart comprehension. All things feel. So that is the path to our universal understanding of oneness. And not the head, that if we logic our way there, it separates us, it analyzes us. And they're saying the head is important. It's really important to help us navigate the 3D reality that we're in right now. But it is meant to be, how do they describe it? That it should follow, right? How they say that in a beautiful way. Let it breathe the afterglow of your heart's formed impressions. So let it breathe the afterglow. Let it come afterwards and make sense of what your heart feels. But let the heart feel, because that is our path to unity and oneness with all things. So, okay, super beautiful message, super beautiful. I hope that I found it to be just a wonderful way of really understanding some of these more abstract concepts we talk about all the time, about feeling one with everything. And how do you get there? Well, they just laid it out for us pretty clearly. So you're saying all things feel, especially good for us empaths. Oh, yes, like that. I mean, that is the truth. That's where we're heading, right? To a situation where empathy is much more universal, that everybody, in a perfect world, everyone becomes an empath, and we are all sensitive to one another and feeling. And that's how they say that is our pathway to peace, to world peace, is that how can you have war if you truly feel and understand how the situation that another person is in and why they care about what they do. Like if two people, both sides, are really empathic and really feeling one another, they have to consider one another, right? They have to make room for one another because you're experiencing what they experience. So you would treat them the same way you would treat yourself. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I think it's been a beautiful message. I hope you loved it too, and I will see you again. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are interested, the Circle of 12 is coming together. I mentioned it in last Friday Live. Circle of 12 is a new energetic structure being created by the angels, and it's going to be forming at the end of this month. But don't wait because it is filling up very quickly. If you want to learn more about it, it's a personal healing journey where there are some individual one-on-one healing sessions with the angels, which you guys know I don't do those outside of these energetic structures, outside of the circles. So if you are interested in that, and there is also a very important circle coming together as 12 people that are holding an energy and working directly with the angels in group format as well. So you can learn more about it on my website, which is anntucker.com, and I will put a link below for you guys to check out. All right, have a wonderful weekend, you guys. Sending lots of love to you. Bye-bye.